Hello and welcome. I'm excited to be here at Mobile DevOps Summit to talk about rapid prototyping to validate ideas. I think the concept of validating ideas through testing and iteration is pretty common in software these days, but I wanted to get a bit into how we actually do this with our clients when we're building something from scratch, when we're improving something that already exists, or when we have no idea what to build. But first, let me tell you a little bit about me. I've been many things in my life. I started as a film composer before working as a journalist out of college. Technically a lawyer, though I would not hire me for that role. I'm also a podcaster, musician, community builder, and an aspiring dog trainer to my dog, Taco. Many would consider me a generalist. I used to think that was bad, that my lack of focus was a weakness, until somebody told me that every weakness has a corresponding strength. So I started thinking about my weakness. Why couldn't I focus on anything long enough to get really good at it? Why couldn't I stick with one thing? What was the corresponding strength in wanting to move on to the next thing, in never wanting to sit still? And then it hit me. I am an explorer. I love to learn new things. I'm actually only happy when I'm learning new things. And I'm also good at learning new things. I can jump around to new concepts and switch gear on a moment's notice. I'm as good at learning new things as I'm as bad at focusing. Every weakness has a corresponding strength. Being an explorer is great if your job is to develop new products, but not everyone is or should be an explorer. Kent Beck, one of the founding fathers of the Agile movement, believes in a product development triathlon. Product development, he says, has three main phases. Explore. It's the risky search for a viable investment. It's unpredictable, so the highest expected value strategy is to reduce the cost of experimentation and put as little investment into as many uncorrelated experiments as you can. If you're lucky, one of those will turn out to be unexpectedly successful, which leads to expand, a period of rapid growth focused on removing bottlenecks. After massive growth, all that is left to do is extract value. That's about squeezing the lemon for every last drop. Roll out that product to a new city, beef up your marketing. Playbooks start to emerge. The business world needs explorers, expanders, and extractors. They all play an important role, but I'm interested in the study of explorers. It's who my team usually works with, and it's something that I strive to be. I've studied it, I've lived it, and the best summary I've seen on what exactly it is Dr. Saras Sarathy's effectuation theory. So back in 2001, Dr. Saraswati wanted to understand how entrepreneurs think and act. So she studied a bunch of successful entrepreneurs, people who had several years of experience founding companies, many often who had failed, but all of them had taken at least one company public. She gave them a 17-page problem set of typical startup decisions, and she got to see at the micro level what they do. She distilled her research down to 5 principles and published it under the title Effectuation Theory. You see, traditional business management operates under a theory of causality. Causal thinkers believe that they can predict the future based on past events. They start with the end goal, and then they figure out the means to achieve that end. Effectual thinkers, on the other hand, believe that the future is largely unpredictable, but it can be controlled. They envision a future filled with various possible ends. Because no single outcome is predetermined, they see themselves in the cockpit, piloting towards the most favorable outcome that they can achieve. Given what I'm facing, they ask, what is my next best step towards achieving a positive goal? In other words, they make it up as they go along. And it's not a bad thing. It's actually the key to their success. And what's more, it isn't an inherent skill of the natural born entrepreneur. It's an approach that can be learned and practiced by anybody who wants to create their own opportunities. Effectual thinkers have 4 guiding principles that they can apply. The first is called bird in hand. When you start an entrepreneurial journey, You start by taking stock of what you have: assets, network, ideas, advantages, the resources at hand. You look at what you have and you just start. You don't wait for perfect market conditions. The second is called the lemonade principle. Entrepreneurs know that things are going to go poorly. They just don't know what and when. So when something bad happens, they look for opportunity in the unexpected. They make lemonade from lemons. The third is called the crazy quilt. When evaluating potential partnerships, entrepreneurs focus on partners who are willing to make actual commitments without worrying about opportunity cost. The partners that come on board determine the goals and the direction, not the other way around. And finally, entrepreneurs only invest what they can afford to lose. They don't look at the outcome and then determine what is worth risking. They calculate what they're and they invest that. The fundamental shift in mindset that effectuation creates is one of optionality. Effectuation begins with the determination of what one has, what others may bring, and what one is willing to lose. So start with what you have, risk what you can afford, commit to partners who commit to you. And when things go haywire, look for the opportunity. Don't wait for perfect market conditions, and don't try to predict the future. Time is now, the future isn't made, and all that's left to do is just start. Now that we've started, our next task is to figure out what to build. We work with a lot of companies and entrepreneurs to build new digital products. When we encounter a team that knows they want to build something, but doesn't know what to build, we typically do one of two things. We use a design sprint to define goals, validate assumptions, and decide on a product roadmap before starting development, or we use rapid prototyping to build, test, iterate, and launch multiple features at the same time. Design sprints can happen in as little as a week or over the course of several. If you're looking for a handy guide, Jake Knapp wrote the book Sprint, where he lays out in easy to follow details the steps involved in a design sprint. And while it's a handy guide, we've found it's more useful to break it apart and take it at your own pace. Whether you follow the book or go at your own pace, you can actually apply the same theories of effectuation. Start with your bird in hand. Why are you doing this? What are you hoping to accomplish? What are you starting with? What are your advantages and strengths? How about knowledge? What have you learned from past efforts? You'll want to start by interviewing stakeholders first, then other people with experience tackling similar problems. The goal is to figure out what has been done and what can be done. It's also important to build consensus within your team so that it is clear that everyone has the same goals and base assumptions. This is important. If you don't let other people weigh in, if they're not a part of the planning process, they will not be advocates for you. Things will get bumpy, and people who aren't invested in the decision-making process won't stick around for the turbulence. Make it everyone's plan, not just yours. After you gather knowledge and build consensus, you'll want to start sketching ideas. A great way to get started is to do competitive reviews. Split your team up and have everyone do research on similar products, both from within your industry and from outside. Just because you're building a health app doesn't mean you can't learn about UX tricks from a retail platform. As you review, you can capture ideas and share them through lightning demos where you go around a table and each person demos one feature or functionality that could work here. They'll take the ideas from that competitive review and use it to sketch new ideas, short 3-panel storyboards that illustrate a user flow. One of my favorite concepts from design thinking is brainstorming apart before you brainstorm together. Oftentimes, people want to get in a room and iterate and ideate. When you do this, there's so much pressure for magic to happen. And then people just start talking to talk, and the quiet ones don't talk. The whole thing just isn't very productive. Instead, if you want to brainstorm, have everyone brainstorm on their own first. Even if you're all together, take 30 minutes, find a quiet place, brainstorm on your own, come up with a list of ideas, and when you regroup, everyone will have ammo for the brainstorm. It'll be much easier to ideate on everyone's ideas, and everyone will get a chance to contribute. We used this process to explore widget ideas when iOS 14 first launched. We came up with a lot of ideas. One was a widget to view the stars. The 3-panel user journey started with the user viewing an ad for a widget on the App Store after searching for an astronomy app, followed by a sign-up screen, followed by a screenshot of the dashboard. The 3 panels demonstrate how a user first discovers the widget, how they sign up, and what value they get out of it. You can go through a lot of iterations of solution sketches. When you find one that is worth testing, you can draw it out and fully storyboard the entire experience, showing every step of the user flow that you want to test. Designing what and how you test is actually one of the really fun parts. In our user test, we had 2 goals. 1, would people find our concept interesting when compared to other widgets? To test this, we showed 5 people a mock-up of an App Store search results page and asked them to tell us which, if any, they would install. Without actually building anything, we got real user feedback on our concept. I've done it the other way around too. I've spent months building and launching something only to learn that nobody will even pick it from a list of search results. By thinking about the end-to-end flow, you can validate assumptions before you build anything, which is cheaper, faster, and better. The second thing we wanted to know is whether people really had interest in our widget. We knew that just asking people if they would download our widget was worthless. People don't want to be mean, so most of the time they just say yes. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, I've asked people about my idea and they all say they would use it. They won't. Even if they want to, they probably won't. It's just a tall barrier to overcome, which is why testing and iteration is so important. So, to figure out whether someone would actually download our widget, we hit a secret test at the end. When the user interview was finished, we sent everyone an email with an Amazon gift card, a thank you for participating. Underneath that gift card was a small line of text that said, if you would like to be notified when this widget becomes available, please enter your email address. That was it. That was our most important test. Everything else in the user study was mostly fluff and distractions. We knew, though, that if enough people signed up, we would know that our concept was really compelling. Design sprints are great when you really have no idea what to build. Now, if you have a lot of ideas, a decent user base, and enough funding to work through them, you can go a step further by building working prototypes of your ideas to test and iterate with real audiences. That's what we did with West Elm, an American furniture company and part of the Fortune 500 Williams-Sonoma brand. Their digital product team, formerly led by my friend Luke Chatelain, had a lot of ideas. Like many retailers, they were looking for ways to leverage new technologies to increase digital sales. But how do you choose from the many options on the whiteboard? Do you build a chatbot to reduce the 35 million customer service requests you get every year? Do you build a virtual reality showroom so customers can explore their latest offerings from the comfort of their home? How about an augmented reality app that allowed customers to pull out their phone and place a chair right in their living room? Or an AI-powered style matcher that takes a Pinterest board and returns furniture with a similar look and feel? The list went on and on, each bet taking time and resources, each likely to fail. Kent Beck's explores ringing in our heads. The risky search for a viable investment. It's unpredictable, so the highest expected value strategy is to reduce the cost of experimentation and put as little investment into as many uncorrelated experiments as you can. If you're lucky, one of these will turn out to be unexpectedly successful. So we did them all, kind of. We set up a rapid prototyping team. West Elm brought the researchers, product designers, and money. We brought experienced full-stack software engineers, quality assurance specialists, a rock-solid scrum master, and a very open mind. Working in 2-week agile sprints, we built tests and deployed them in small, sometimes fewer than 10 people, user research groups. Other times, we dropped workflows into small segments of their mailing list to see how a few hundred people would react. The things we built were unpolished. They were buggy, they were often one-sided, but they were also carefully set up to test a single hypothesis. Would someone be more likely to click on a marketing email if we linked to a Pinterest matching tool, for example? We learned a lot. The customer service chatbot didn't work great for customer service, but it actually worked great as an entry-level automated design assistant, like the old Microsoft Clippy, but for interior design. It took several iterations to understand this, but we did get there. The Pinterest matching tool, it didn't move the needle on revenue, but people loved to talk about it, and it actually got them some great press in Fast Company. But one of the things we built, a progressive mobile web app that combines elements of a website with some native functionality, was hugely successful. The time spent on site per user went up 17%, while the revenue per user went up 8%. 3 of probably 100 tests ended up doing something really positive for the company. 97 didn't. But you only find that out if you get enough shots on goal. I hope this was helpful. Building new things is not supposed to be easy or fast or cheap, but it's fun. And if you get it right, all of your wildest dreams can come true. If you have any questions or just want to talk, hit me up. I look forward to hearing from you. And thank you for your time today.